Okay, so everybody, project, yep, can you hear me?
Yep.
So I think Brian, I think I heard you all talking about the drawings that Visions had submitted. So they're in front of you, so they're moving through their, process here, and they're planning on going to the planning board on tomorrow for a concept review. I don't know, Paul, Brian, if you want to walk everybody through any of that, or
Talk about it. Do you want me to talk about it? Yep. Sure. So I'm not quite sure what the last version the board saw. This is similar, but not the same. If I remember right, the board saw version where the hotels are the same, but the apartment complex had the last version. It went from, it's gone through a number of iterations. They've moved away from the one giant building, but the last version I think you guys saw was the apartments there was a mix of apartments and townhouses. Now it's all townhouses. So every one of these you see out here is a four, except for one, are 4-unit townhouses with 4 driveways and 4 garages on the first floor, and then 2 stories above that. Right?
What about the hotel?
The hotels, the hotel.
Kind of big things?
Yeah.
Lot 2 and lot 1?
Lot 2 and lot 1, right. Those haven't changed at all. So, so it is a bit different. It's Brian, Lisa, and I met today just to go over some general comments because they're going to planning board tomorrow for an initial concept review. And so we kind of coordinated some comments, I guess a few comments that we talked about were, like to see pedestrian connections throughout here, more sidewalks. Like to see better street connectivity, so that cars can loop around here. Want to shut the door, Jack?
Yeah.
Well, technically,
You
we're
can't.
not, we can, because it's not.
Couple
Yeah.
cops on it. Yeah, it is a public meeting.
Okay,
You really
can't do it. Okay.
can't control it.
I don't know, there's this gal down there, but sorry.
They're for rental, right, Paul?
They're-
For sale.
That I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
The rental townhouses,
I
not
think so.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What am I missing, Brian?
It's actually better, don't you think?
Well,
It's more attractive.
it's I guess their concerns is a little bit, it's very suburban. What's facing the road is all these garages.
Kind of like a Deerfield place.
Well, right, it's a Deerfield Place type of thing in the city. I mean, it's, we'd like to see a little bit, at least some of these units along the main road, along this road anyway, be frontage units that would front the road better. And you maybe have retail or commercial in the bottom floor or something, something to create more of a neighborhood effect. So there is.
What do you mean bottom floor? I thought they were individual apartments. You mean in the hotel?
If these front units were more of a apartment without garages in the bottom, and where maybe there's a parking lot in back and you confront the roads better. It
You're thinking more of like a mixed use.
mixed use, at least along the frontal row, at least there, and then the backside, you can have these more suburban looking residential units, so those are kind of comments we're offering to them, talking to them about through the planning board process.
How about the time frame? We had that set up where they had to build one building by 1 year, another building by, how does this work? What does this do that?
I don't know if any of that's changed, right, Bob?
No, total time frame, I thought it was 4
Not-
years for all of it. Yeah. They're saying they're gonna start it all at once. They're gonna be there, they're just gonna bang it out, so.
The hotels and the buildings and all of it all at once?
Yep.
No,
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 there's 3, the board approved
second
the
amendment.
second amendment that
Yeah, we
allocates
approved
the
it.
project of 3 different phases. You have approved this. Phase 1 is the first hotel, phase 2 is the second hotel on lot B, and phase 3 is the apartment building. So the board approved that phasing last month.
So what are you saying? They gotta build the 2 hotels before they start building the houses, is what you're saying?
They can, but they're saying they're gonna go after the whole site at once, but they don't have to, right? We've given them timeframes to do it. They can do it faster. They just can't do it slower. And now were your comments accepted? Were they okay with?
Well,
it?
they're gonna informally be given to them tomorrow during the planning board meeting,
Okay.
and then see if we can, influence the layout a little bit,
Okay.
so it's a little bit more urban, it's a little bit more pedestrian friendly, it's a little bit more attractive, again, on the backside, maybe they're fine, but you drive this road, and again, they're not showing sidewalks or anything, you're getting just all driveways and garages. It's just, and again, maybe that's okay in the backside, but I think, if we can get some mobility there through the car, so at least have some kind of loop. I think those front units can be designed a little bit different, so they can be street facing.
Yep.
And, maybe they can, have something on the first floors, small retail, coffee shop or something. I mean, it's just, again, it's just very suburban in an urban, it's supposed to be an urban environment, So,
And you know which hotel's going where?
I think, I don't know, where is that? Is lot 2 like
Yeah.
still another?
They
I
only
don't-
prevented,
lot-
or they, actually, I can maybe
Lot
answer
A.
that.
There's 2,
Lot A.
courtyard, there's,
Was it Bob?
Is that lot 1 a little bit longer?
they have a courtyard and they
I
have
don't-
a Candlewood Suites.
Yep.
I don't know which one's which. I don't think, Candlewood's a little, I'm assuming lot 1 might be Candlewood. That's a little different shape than the normal courtyard, I'm thinking, but I don't know.
The courtyard's a little bit. No, if you look at the elevation of the courtyard one, it looks like there's a jog in it.
Oh, okay, so
And then
I have it back.
lot 1 looks like there's a jog in that footprint.
Okay,
Okay,
you're right. Yes. Good to the architect.
okay. All right. So we'll know from the planning board tomorrow.
What would they do tomorrow? Just, planning board would be step 1, right, at this meeting?
Yeah, provide comments. Let them know there's still other phases that has to be gone through. But they will provide some initial comments, and then the next round of drawings will provide to engineering, police, fire.
So it'll probably just be tabled, Brian?
Yeah.
We are, they can let them know the trail, they drew the trail wrong, that, they have the trail mostly on their property.
Mhm.
It's mostly off their property. So this trail, the way they drew it,
Yep.
There's a couple sections we're looking for
Back there.
easements on, but yeah, it dives back into our property,
Yep,
so.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Retention pond.
Yes. The blue, we said that's the retention.
It's already there, it's by retention pond. Right. Retention Basin, I should say.
Okay.
That's, anything I missed, Lisa? And BSA?
No, I don't think so. I think Brian's got a page of notes he's gonna share with them tomorrow, and I would say though, when we get the next version of this, we will be reviewing it again on behalf of the LDC and providing comments to the planning board. But these are just kind of basic comments at this time.
Good. Jones Conklin?
Any update on Jones?
I think,
Yeah.
well, no, because we're waiting on the ESD, right?
I apologize. Apologies. I sat on the couch and
I was in the la there when he called.
Well,
It's okay.
we can call the meeting to order and we'll
Yeah.
officially.
Go ahead.
Motion to approve the minutes of October 16th.
Motion.
Second, Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So moved. Back to Jones.
Yeah,
Anything
we
on-
don't have an update because we're waiting for, well, we're working on ESD with the final paperwork, right, Paul, to get the funding to actually pay for the acquisition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been following those emails.
Yeah.
National
We're
Grid.
close. It's a mound of paperwork. No updates there. We continue to talk to them once a month, although this last month was postponed due to travel reasons. So nothing there other than Paul is continuing to work with them to get them to consider a screening for the substation so that it's not so imposing, on the harbor side of things. But that's a work in progress with them.
Hopefully you introduce that concept early in the
Yeah.
process so they can start to digest
Yeah, yeah.
and think about
Yeah.
and have that,
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than give plenty of time.
Yeah, they're receptive of it. Yeah, we were just trying to figure out like what is the best and all that. Sure. Yep.
That's good. Keep that.
I think we'll keep at it. Yeah, I think I'm looking, trying to look for some other, types of materials, but that seems to be the most common, is kind of a stand metal.
Well, just the idea of introducing it, showing some examples, they can take it from there a little bit and
Yeah.
we can keep on,
Keep on, yeah,
needling it and
Yeah. that's good. Yeah, it's an opportunity there. It could be really neat.
agree.
We saw some things in Europe where they screened the substations where they really made a kind of an art piece.
Well, I think as you mentioned, it's not like we need all four
Yeah.
sides either.
Right, just two sides.
Yeah.
So,
So,
Yeah, but it's been great. Is it? I always get her name wrong. Daria. She's been great and diligent in the
Dana.
meetings. So that still work. Thania, thanks. I always get her name
yeah,
wrong.
no, I think she just says Dana, even though it's spelled different, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah.
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 All right.
So I mean,
Promenade?
yeah, thanks. Paul, do you have any updates before we take the action?
On update on the promenade?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Promenade.
from construction
Yeah.
standpoint or anything?
We are waiting on them. They've submitted the last invoice, but we're waiting on them to, they had to do some adjustments to where the bubbler system, where the kayak launch is, putting two bubblers or just cheer up the water so that it doesn't freeze around the kayak floating unit, dock over there. So they had to do some adjustments on where that's being plugged in. We're waiting for them to finish that, and then we're
They
done.
had to add another power line, right?
They had the power line, but then
We need a second
we
one.
decided to do kind of a stand-up plug, we're putting a
Closer,
bollard,
They don't have to run cords all the way.
right, closer, right, and we're putting a bollard there to plug into, rather than plug into the sidewalk. Yes,
Got approved.
yeah. So that's the last piece, yeah, because that ended up being a little bit over the original contract, right, yeah.
So, yeah. All right, Bob, purchase and sale agreement?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, before the board today is a resolution to convey fee title to the promenade area, and some adjacent parking areas to the city of Utica. So recall you resolved, last month or the month before to, enter into a license agreement with the city, which has been executed. And now, as always contemplated, we're entering into a purchase and sale agreement. The reason we have to bifurcate these two activities is because, one, now that the promenade is completed and this corporation is not statutorily authorized to operate a promenade, nor does it have the financial wherewithal to insure it and maintain it. And with the completion of the kayak launch, it's ready to be conveyed to the city and open for public use. So the corporation is subject to the New York State Public Authority Law, which requires that the corporation you've seen this in your other transactions, when it disposes of property that it complies with certain requirements under the public authority law to avoid Vin from selling this to his brother. And I'm not saying you would do that, Vin, but it's to avoid abuses, and it's very bureaucratic and procedural. So the resolution before the board today, really what it's saying is the corporation is authorizing the sale of the promenade area to the city for $1, as acknowledges that the city is going to own, operate, and maintain the promenade upon conveyance. But the big part of the resolution is complying with the public authority law. This is a below fair market value disposition. The statute requires that with any sale of property, the corporation is supposed to obtain an appraisal to determine its fair market value. And then, of course, that's how the board would evaluate whether a sale price is below or above fair market value. The city is agreeing to take title and for $1, and the consideration certainly is that it's going to maintain it, operate it, insure it, things that this corporation can't even. So this the paperwork before you is an acknowledgement of the seller, who the purchaser is, what the property is. We've noted that we're really not able to obtain a fair market value appraisal. As a practical matter, it doesn't matter whether the appraisal is $10 or $100 million. Corporation cannot operate a promenade, and the city is to open it up to the public and maintain it. And we've also indicated that we spent about $10 million in proceeds to prepare the promenade for ultimate public use, some remediation, the construction, bulkhead, the promenade, the parking area. So we've calculated the fair market value to be the cost approach, $10 million. So we've noted that the value of the property is $10 million, disposing of it for $1, and we've reasons the corporation is willing to dispose of this for less than fair market value to the city. And those reasons are because that is the whole point of this statute, going back to 2008 when they acquired the harbor from, open it up to the public and redevelop the real property. So the resolution before the board today is to convey the property to the city. And the biggest thing is in section 4 of the resolution, the board is making a determination, no reasonable alternative to the proposed below market value transfer that would achieve the same purposes of the transfer being, and it's to act in the public interest by providing title to the promenade premises to the city. And that's the resolution.
Are there 2 buildings in the promenade?
One other little piece here too. We do need that. And this resolution authorizes to execute and negotiate this purchase sale agreement, and we have a near final agreement with the city. And upon the board's approval today, we need to send a notice to the authority budget office, and we have to stand still for 90 days, informing the authority budget office that we're conveying to the city for less than its fair market value. So we hope to be able to convey this property in about 90 days or so from today.
All right. Any questions, anybody?
City is ready to take it over.
Yep. We want to have a grand opening next spring when we can get in there. Looks great. I don't know if anybody's been down there, but Paul and I were down there with the mayor and the Canal Corp recently.
They won't take the fences or anything down like right to the spring, so we do. Right, which I think is probably a good thing.
Right, I don't think so.
No.
It's city decision.
Right. So they don't, the city doesn't really take it over for 90 days, right?
Right.
Well, the city has a license, so they already will after today's vote, the license agreement becomes effective, and the city will going forward have should be is in charge of the harbor, right? So maintenance, opening it up, that's all in the discretion of the city. This corp has control over that. That it should be.
They won't
Right
own it.
now?
They won't own it, but they're licensed to
Okay.
run it, right? And for 90 days, it'll be theirs.
Yeah.
No questions? Can I get a motion?
Someone,
Second? Okay. All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
So moved. Thanks, Bob. Bob's put a ton of work into this. I've seen about 1 million emails. My eyes are bleeding, but you got it done, Bob, so.
All right, thanks.
17 building, anything?
Um,
Go ahead.
well, we are gonna, set up a meeting, with, so 17, oh, no,
33
sorry.
building.
Sorry, yeah, I was thinking 30 building. I don't know anything about the 1917 buildings. Anybody heard from Sale?
I actually ran into him walking into BJ's on Halloween. He said he's talking to that guy Paul from the state. I think he means you, apparently,
Cool.
who's helping him out. He's still very interested in the project. So, well, that's not the rumor I heard. He goes, no, I'm still very
Yeah,
interested.
he texted me after that saying he talked to you somewhere. Yeah. And, anyway, so, yeah, he reiterated that. He's just waiting to hear what's happening with the pro.
The CFAs, yes,
Yes. And then, at that point.
which Paul from the state has control over apparently.
Straight to check, Paul. Yeah.
You are wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah, I got more than I thought, yeah. Yeah, so we're hopeful, and so once we know that outlay of dollars, and if the state did to support both building improvements, then I would think that he'd still be interested, but, it would be his.
Okay.
I just don't, I told him the way the board understands his situation is it's the first right of refusal until he tells the board.
Right.
He can no longer proceed, then, things,
All right. Mohawk Valley Garden?
Mohawk Valley Garden expressed to us that they want a meeting with the LDC and about purchasing 2 properties adjacent to the 33 building, the revised lot 1, because we are subdividing the 33 building off of it, so the LDC can do the work under the pro housing grant, if we get the pro housing grant to do the flood resiliency work. So he wants to buy, or MVG wants to buy revised lot number 1 and lot number 2. And they want to begin to move forward the new build next to the 33 building. So they've asked for a meeting on that, and they did get some, I guess I can't say that yet. They're hopeful about some state dollars. Yeah.
Okay. So that's moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
ESD, Canal, talk about that. We met with them.
Yeah, Canal, you want to talk about that? You want me to talk?
You go right ahead. You're on a roll.
Keep going, Paul.
So after a long hiatus, because they came in here during the last administration, they said there's $2 million reserved for the harbor. They asked us to propose some projects, and they would review them and determine if, they found them eligible or acceptable to move forward. We did that. They were positive, but they kind of disappeared for a while. So Ryan kept calling Jackie Sillinger at Canal Corp, and she was very positive and said, actually, things are still in good standing. We want to come out and have a meeting. She came out. I don't know if you ever met Andy. I didn't meet him before. Andy Marzo from NIPA, and then Canal Corp, Joe Maloney, their chief engineer, and then Jim Decker, who's their regional person. They came out. We represented what we want to do with the $2 million, which was a lot of it's the trail system and the bridge at DSA 1 to connect to the Canalway Trail, but the other pieces were restoration of the steam crane, because we ran out of money in the ARPA, and then the small boat launch with a parking lot on the other side. They were totally in support of that. They were completely impressed with the Promenade project, extremely excited about what we're doing. They reiterated that Utica is still a big part of what they're planning going forward. It's going to be a part of their, they're going to make sure it's a big part of the recreational way 2050 plan. So it was just a great meeting. And then, we talked to them about, the lock, in the long term, short term, everybody's so focused on the water side activities. In the longer term, though, they do agree that right sizing the lock for smaller boats You know, and, you know, dredging only to the extent to allow, you know, smaller recreational craft in there is, they like that idea. They want to work together on that, maybe find other, you know, state partners, but, you know, that's next step. So, you know, so it was just, I think it's really positive. The great thing on that was they were 100%, they were able to tell us for 100% that they're in for the $2 million grant. There's no issues at this point, just pay for it.
They basically told us we could start incurring
We can
expenses,
start incurring expenses even, so.
so they guaranteed the money's gonna be there.
Yep.
And that was so important for a couple reasons. Well, two big, it's a match for the pedestrian, the Loop to Harbor Bridge. And it's also a match against the pro housing grant, that we wrote, you know, the rest of that $2 million. So, you know, it's really important for the future work. So it was just all the way around. It was just a great discussion. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Jack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. State Boy. CFA, hearing anything on that?
I haven't heard anything recently. If you remember anything, no. Okay.
Waiting for the announcement.
Yeah, we heard that there's some programs have had announcements that, but we in pro housing, I don't think across the state has any announcements yet, so we're just waiting, you know. It seemed positive from the questions we were getting and everything else. I mean, we had detailed questions, which makes you feel pretty good, but no word.
Yeah.
At least to some.
I know, right?
DOI? I know it's been presented, right?
The mayor presented on Friday to select members of the Regional Economic Development Council, along with Ravesh and Dr. McCarthy from Masonic Medical Research. Went very well. They didn't give any indication. I'm guessing it'd be announced in partnership with the CFAs. I don't know that for sure.
It suggested January.
Really?
Yep.
ESD
January?
did let us know that
That's what I had been told.
All right.
ESD did tell us that in the Mohawk Valley region, we were the only community that's already received a DRI to apply for a second one. So I'd like to think our chances are pretty good.
I know one of the members and it was very well received, so
Good.
I'm sure you do. So.
I know that the final DRI plans are due, well, they're due in December and they're going to be finished in early January. So I bet they're waiting for this round to be done before they announce the next one. So that makes sense.
Good.
We did include the Loop to Harbor Bridge, pedestrian bridge as one of the projects.
Yeah, the federal money, you know, for the $2 million for the bridge won't get through construction. It'll certainly get through final design with money to spare, but, you know, we will need more money to construct the Loop to Harbor.
Okay.
The Common Council does have on their agenda tonight a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the federal agreement for that $2 million, as well as the sale of the transfer of the promenade from the LDC to the harbor.
Good.
That they should be acting on tonight.
Well, you're gonna be at the 6 o'clock meeting.
I'll be at the 6 o'clock. I'm gonna go over the bridge. Brian and I talked, Brian, I go over the transfer.
Okay,
Between Stephanie and I.
okay.
There'll be some probably questions about the turning over the promenade as well. You know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at 6 o'clock. Yeah, I don't, yeah, if you need, like I said, if you need my input, I mean, I think Brian is just as, yeah.
The employees don't work down there.
Right, you said
I slept right.
I'll stay to 7, but I don't think you need.
the sale and, I'm sorry, no, it's the sale
I'll
and
take
the.
Retired ones are even better.
Anything else we need to talk about?
Because of our relationship with Jackie Schillinger from Canal Corp, she reached out, sent me an email last week introducing me to the executive director of the Albany Symphony Orchestra. They have a program whereby they come around on July 4th and are meeting our having the symphony perform at
Down there?
various communities along the canal.
Yeah.
They'd like to be in Utica, so we met with them today, actually. They took a look at the harbor. They're interested.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
You need a saxophone player.
We need bathrooms and parking, actually.
And a sex.
I'm sure Weasel's ass in there.
So, if there's nothing else, you see the next 3 meetings, December, if there's nothing on the agenda, we'll cancel it. Nothing that we have to move, right? It's just an update. We can send an update out by email to everybody, so. So that's tentative, January 15th is definitely our next, is in the book, so. There's nothing else, getting a motion to adjourn? Bill, second, Jack, all in favor? Opposed, so moved. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Will be